Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make peanut butter marshmallow bars, and this is what they look like. This is no bake. It only has 4 ingredients: homemade marshmallows, peanut butter, butterscotch chips, and butter, and it is delicious. We're going to start with by making our homemade marshmallows. And you're going to say, can I use store-bought? Yes, you could, but you know what? If you use homemade, it turns this from like just a children's treat into a gourmet confection. So well worth the effort. You will need a 9 by 13 inch pan. That's 23 by 33 with 2-inch sides, 5 centimeter. And I'm just going to spray my pan with the non-stick spray. You could butter or even lightly oil the pan. And then I'm just going to line the pan with a piece of parchment paper. You could use wax paper or even foil for this. And then what I'm going to do is take a little bit of confectioner's sugar. You may know that as powdered or icing sugar. And I'm just going to sift it over the bottom of the pan. Because marshmallow, when you first make it, is really sticky. And so it's going to stick to the sugar, not to the parchment paper, which is what we want. So really give a nice coating there. Okay, so homemade marshmallows, really easy. It's just a sugar syrup whipped with gelatin. So it's not difficult. So you will need a medium size, try to get a heavy bottom saucepan. We don't want our sugar syrup burning. And you will need 2 cups, 400 grams of granulated white sugar, and just 1/4 teaspoon, 1 gram of salt. You will need 1/2 cup, 120 grams of just water. And then 1 cup, which is 240 milliliters, or if you want to go by weight, 325 grams of light corn syrup. You could use golden syrup. When I'm measuring out something that's really sticky like this, I usually spray the inside of my measuring cup, or you could lightly oil it with so it doesn't stick. So now we are going to bring this up to eventually to the softball stage. So in order to do that, you could either use, I have here a couple ones, you could use a digital thermometer, candy thermometer, or you could use the mercury, whatever you have. So I'm just going to turn this on medium-high heat. You want to stir it fairly often because we want all that sugar to dissolve. And while that's going about there, we are going to whip, once we bring that up to the softball stage, then we're going to whip it with our gelatin. So what we're going to do is put 1/2 cup, which is 120 milliliters or 120 grams of, have cold water this time, into your bowl. If you have an electric stand mixer, you will need your whisk attachment for this, or you could use a hand mixer. Now, the gelatin we are using is, if you live in like North America, you can get these little boxes of unflavored gelatin. They come in these little 1/4 ounce packs. It's about 7 grams. So we will need 3 packs or 21 grams of unflavored gelatin. And we're going to sprinkle this over the top. And what happens is just little tiny dry grains is they're going to absorb all that water and become really soft and spongy. And that is why your marshmallows, when you have them, they're like really spongy. It's from the gelatin. But it takes a little bit for that to activate, so we'll do that now. Let's give that a little stir. And you want to have a lid for your saucepan as well. I don't think I mentioned that. Okay, that's good. So I'm just going to give this a stir every once in a while, and we're going to bring it up to a boil. Okay, so we're at a boil. So now what I'm going to do is put my lid on the pot. And the reason I do that is there may be some undissolved sugar particles on the side, so the steam that comes up will wash down the sides of the the saucepan. If you don't have a lid, what you could do is take some water and a pastry brush and kind of just brush the sides for that, in case there's any undissolved sugar. So I'm just going to leave like that. Turn my heat, medium high for about 1 minute. So it's been about a minute. There we have it. So you can see that it's a nice boil. It's not like ridiculously, but you can adjust the heat. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to stir this anymore. If I want to, I'll just kind of swirl the pan. And what I'm going to do is take my thermometer, and this one has a clamp here. If you use there is the Insta-Read one, so you don't have to clamp. Just put that on there, and I'm going to let it come up to 240 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 115 degrees Celsius. Okay, so we are at 240. So I'm going to take that off the heat, remove that. And so you can see there's our gelatin, nice and bloomed. I'm going to put that, stand mixer, I'm going to start it up, and then I'm going to gradually and carefully pour my sugar syrup down the side of my bowl. Have your mixer on low speed here. Turn that off for a second so you can hear me. So what I'm going to do, it kind of looks like a mess here, kind of opaque liquid. So what I'm going to do is start it slow, gradually increase to high speed, and I'm going to beat this mixture, and it's going to be transformed into like a meringue, really thick meringue. And that's going to take probably about 10 minutes on my speed at high speed. So just keep in mind you want it really nice and thick. Okay, now isn't that amazing what we started with and what we have now? It's just gorgeous, thick, shiny, very sticky. So now I'm going to flavor the marshmallow with 2 teaspoons, that's 8 grams of pure vanilla extract, or actually I'm using a pure vanilla, like a bean paste. It's kind of the best of both worlds of a vanilla bean and the vanilla extract. It's because it's in like a vanilla extract with the little tiny seeds from the vanilla bean, which kind of makes the marshmallows look kind of cool. So I'm just going to beat this in slowly. Okay, so we are done. As you can see, that is not very hard. And once you start making your own homemade marshmallows, you'll never go back. So now I'm just going to pour this as best as I can over the bottom of my pan. Now this bowl, what you want to do to clean it is fill it with hot water and then just let it sit. And the hot water will dissolve the rest of the sticky stuff in marshmallow. It's kind of hard to get it all off here. Okay. Then I'll just spread this out. Now, when you make homemade marshmallows, you have to let this sit at room temperature until it becomes, firms up and becomes nice and spongy and not so sticky. So that's going to take, 6-8 hours. A lot of times what I do is I make the marshmallow at least the day before, and then I let it sit overnight, and then I can finish off peanut butter marshmallow bars the next day. So it's kind of, you're dividing the work. So you could color, if you wanted to put a little food coloring in your marshmallow while it's whipping, you could do that. So there we have it. Then, because it's really sticky, We don't want it to dry out. I'm going to sift some more of that confectioner sugar, powdered or icing sugar over the top. Really make sure you get a really good coating. These are good just as a gift, just themselves. People kind of go, you made marshmallows? Kind of really different thing. So, in order for me to do it all in one day, I made a batch of my marshmallows yesterday. So now I'm going to have lots of marshmallow. So you just kind of take it out, and then I just have a cutting board, and I put a piece of parchment just to make my cleanup a little easier. So I'm just going to flip this over and peel off my parchment paper. And you will need quite a bit of powdered sugar at this point. So I have a plate here and a strainer. So peel that off. And so now we won't need the whole thing. Well, about half, because you will need 1 pound, 450 grams of marshmallow, which is 6 cups of little tiny. We want to put them into bite-sized pieces. So you can, I'm just going to use one of these pizza wheels. You could use, the other thing you could use is if you had some kitchen shears, you could do that. So I'm just going to first, just put a little, make sure I have lots of, so I've put a plate and I've sifted some sugar because the sides are kind of sticky. So I just kind of press it in there. And then I take my wheel and, well, whichever way you want to go. And I just slice it off. So where you slice is really sticky. So I just kind of have my little plate here. And then, let's move that off. And then I put it into bite-sized pieces. And then I'll just do a few and show you. So you don't have to watch me do 6 cups of this or a pound. Then I take, because they're sticky, and I just put them in the sugar, coat the sides, but then they're kind of got too much sugar on. So then I take my strainer, and then I just kind of, to get all the excess sugar off, and then you have your marshmallows, like that. So we need 1 pound, 450 grams of these little pieces. Now, you will have half left over, and you're going to say, what can I do with that? You can go to the joyofbaking.com website, and there is a recipe for homemade Rocky Road that uses marshmallows, chocolate, and peanuts. You'll want to make that. So I'm just going to finish that, and when we come back, we will make our peanut butter marshmallow bars. So now we are ready to make our peanut butter marshmallow bars. I have my 4 ingredients. In a large bowl, I have my 6 cups, which is 1 pound, 450 grams of these bite-sized homemade marshmallows. So you will need a 9-inch square, 23 centimeter baking pan. I did line mine with parchment paper. You could line it with wax paper. You could use foil. You could use probably just plastic wrap. So what I did is I cut 2 sheets, one going this way and one going this way of my parchment paper. And because parchment paper does not like to behave, what I have is these little clips. I just clip that on there so they will stay in place. Otherwise, it's irritating. So you will need a saucepan of simmering water. And then in a heat-proof bowl, I'm using stainless steel. You will need 2 cups, that's 340 grams of butterscotch chips. Now, I don't normally, but my favorite brand here is Guittard butterscotch chips. They are, I'll give them a little plug. They are really great. So if you can find them or order them online, I do recommend that. And then you will need a 1/2 cup, 113 grams of butter. You can use salted or unsalted. I just cut it into small pieces because we're going to melt that. And then, of course, we need peanut butter, 1 cup, 240 milliliters, 240 grams of, I'm using creamy peanut butter, your favorite brand, whatever that is. So all I'm going to do is put that over my saucepan, the simmering water, and melt it all together. Okay, it's all melted. So take that off the heat. So now, I'm not going to pour that over my marshmallows right now because I'll just have, all my marshmallows will melt because it's quite warm. So I'm just going to let this cool down. And then when I come back, we will mix the two together. Okay, so now it's kind of cooled down. It's just a touch warm on my finger or in my mouth. So now, let's pour that over the top. You know, when I was testing this recipe, I thought you could add some peanuts in here, some chopped nuts if you want like a little bit of crunch. So just toss all those wonderful marshmallows. I like, as you can tell, I like lots of marshmallows in my candy, I guess, or bar. I don't know what you would call this, but it is good. And the good thing is you can store this in the refrigerator for 2 weeks, or you could freeze it for a couple months. And I can tell you, it's so good, you might want to put it in the freezer so you don't, or give it away to your friends, or family. They will love it. Okay, so I'm just going to pour that in there. Okay. And we're just going to smooth that out. I think you can just use the back of a spoon. Doesn't have to be too fancy here. I like it kind of bumpy. Now, this is really soft, so we are going to have to put it into the refrigerator to chill. You know, that takes usually maybe an hour, half hour, until it's firm enough so we can cut it. Looks pretty good. Not fuss too much. And then, you could just leave it like that. Some people like to, later, once it chills down, you could drizzle some melted chocolate over the top. But I'm going to put some sprinkles. I like sprinkles. Children really like sprinkles, but I think adults like sprinkles too. And I think, it kind of brightens it up. Or you could use chocolate jimmies, you could use that. So there we go. I'm going to pop it into the fridge for about an hour, and when we come back, we will try one. So our peanut butter marshmallow bars have chilled. So we'll just remove them from the pan. Oh, a little noisy there. So now, just peel back parchment. And these are very rich, so I just cut them in very thin strips, like so, and then let's turn this, cut them into bars, like so. Oh, doesn't that look wonderful? I'm just going to cut a little small piece. I don't know how to describe it. And the combination of peanut butter and butterscotch chips is delicious. And then you have that nice spongy, soft and spongy marshmallow. I think it's like a perfect piece of candy. And the great thing is, like I said, you can store these in the refrigerator for 2 weeks, in the freezer for 2 months. Wrap them in a little party bag with a bow, and they make a wonderful gift. So try these. And until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.